Dude, I always wait to the I think of this halfway through the intro, and
Intro.
and and I'm caught trying to do it now. I'm trying to pin the video to our profile just to make sure
Oh,
it gets pinned up there. Hang on, where is it? Why won't it pop up?
dude, I
Anyways,
felt like we only missed 1 week, but I feel like it's been forever since we've
it's
been on.
been forever, dude. Yeah, and
What it was? Has it? It's only been 1 week, right?
it's been a week, but it feels like it's been forever. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Hey
Hard to-
guys, welcome back to South Texas Football Unlimited, the Coastal Bend's first original high school football podcast webcast. We're back after a week. Wow, there's 16 people in the room already. I guess they felt like it's been forever too. Welcome, guys.
Yikes.
It's been a pretty crazy week. So we missed last week, obviously because of some work issues. If you guys looked, depending where you're at, to your north, east, west, or whatever, he saw Mount Doom up in flames. Keeping I think you summed it up pretty good. Keeping the
TM is lit.
getting the TM football practice lit without saving them some money on their electric bill.
Yeah.
Oh man. So week 11 was week 11, right? Nothing big came out of that. Finished up some stuff, seedings and whatnot. And I think most of those seeding teams actually lost that first round.
For sure.
Right. San Diego was out, Lyford's out, Falfurrias is out.
And Lyford was a tough match, man, with Industrial. They were having
well, that whole district was no joke, right? Goliad, Industrial, Edna, and who was the fourth team out of that district? Oh, London. So that district went 0-4 this week. So it was a great season. We were able to finally start handing out our Player of the Week awards, which has been nice, right? Got those out. Those are pretty sweet looking. Got one to Bryce Burnett yesterday. Got one to, man, that was awkward, dude. I felt so bad. I had to give RJ his. I tried to get it to him before the game because I didn't want to run to that. What happens if he loses? And I have to give this thing to him at the end of the game, which is what happened.
He seemed like he was okay.
Dude, no, he was not, dude. He was, those kids were upset. And
at least the photo, he looked okay.
Yeah, and that made me happy, right? He bounced back from that real quick. He's got basketball season to look forward to. They had a pretty good run in basketball last year, so they're hoping.
Yeah, knee braces on both knees. Can he play basketball?
He played last year, so they actually did pretty good. I think they might have set a school record again. That's how far they went. Anyways, we'll jump into this week. We're gonna try not to take so long because, man, we got on so late. Had a lot of stuff going on today. Odom had their Feast of Kindness, which is the Thanksgiving dinner the district puts on to feed the community. That's always a nice thing. It's our 4th year doing that. And you were out at the GP pep rally, right? Yep. So yeah. And then we've got to work tomorrow. So it never stops, right? It never stops. So the Hog Watch, right? The Hogs ended up losing their last 4 games of the season, finished 7-4. And we kind of talked about this before the season started, right? Or as the season was going. It's a good result, right?
Yeah,
considering how they've gone the last couple of years, and they're going bowling, right? Which we did not know. Bless you. We did not know there was bowls in Division II, right?
Right.
So they're going bowling, going to the Funtown RV Heritage Bowl in Corsicana,
Texas.
I believe.
It's not first, but I think it's pretty new for the bowls.
No, it's not actually, because I was kind of digging into this morning. And the bowls have actually been around longer than the playoffs have. If I read that right, if I'm wrong, hey, whatever. I don't check facts that well, but I think the bowls have been around longer than the playoffs have. There's only like 5. And then I got some clearing up on the playoff seating. So division winners may not even get selected for these D2 playoffs. It's all strength of schedule and how they finish in the conference and whatnot. So they may not even get it, dude. Which I thought was very weird. Yeah. So if Kingsville had won out, and let's say Angelo State wasn't so highly ranked, but they won the division, there was no guarantee those guys were going to make the playoffs. Very weird.
That is weird. I always like the D1, the D1, small D1 playoff system, like with Sam Houston and Stephen Foster.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed that playoff system because that's like a true legit playoff system. Like you have to be top dogs to get in it. And this over here seems more like a popularity contest.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Yeah. So with this first round, actually, before we jump into it, so a couple of things. Players of the Week awards, those are done. Those are regular season awards. So our last one went to Jaden Palacio from Flower Bluff. We still got to get out there. We're still getting these awards delivered, and they are pretty sharp, man. I'm pretty happy with the way they turned out. Thank you, Doug, at 97 Sports Promotions. Doug's been in the mini helmet game for a while. I
Coming
think
on strong, dude.
since 2006. I mean, the guy will recreate anything that you have or help you come up with something new. And the good thing about it is there's no minimum order, right? So we've ordered onesies and twosies from him with no problem before, right, Justin? Before he even became a part of the show.
Even show, I had him do my son's like little kids football helmet, like a
yeah,
popcorn helmet.
yeah,
He would custom make logos for that, and he did. I thought he did a really good job because that GP logos, it's not common. It's not like you can just take a clip art of an eagle. I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty hard I guess it's not hard to replicate, but like he's got the equipment, he does a good job. I'd like to get him to make me a ghost graphic,
yeah.
helmet and like a concept. Like I want to do it in a black helmet. I think it'd look cool. I just want to see what it looked like. But Doug is killing it. I watched a video today of him. He's getting sponsored by, or he's getting partnerships with colleges now, right? Was that
well? He's officially licensed, right? So he can actually sell that school. I think he just got he got sponsored, or he got the license from Coastal Carolina, so he can now officially make the Coastal Carolina helmets.
Oh, that's slick. Maybe them Kings will hop on that train.
Oh, well, hey, hey, slow down. All right, there's stuff in the works, pal. There's stuff in the works. Okay. So speaking of Doug, right? So the helmet stickers, the weekly helmet stickers, the awards, the highlights, those are kind of done as well during the season. That we'll start giving those out at the games we go to based on performances, just because it's shrinking now, right? The amount of teams that we have left, and it gets pretty hard, and things get worried. And we got other stuff that we got to take care of, right? So those are regular season awards, so we'll pick those back up next season. So some of the big things last week, if you saw, right, we saw a lot of this.
Tell me this. What is too high? Is it 40? Is it 60? Is it 70? Is it 80? Is it 90? What is the rule?
Lot of 70-point, 80-point games in this first round of the playoffs, right?
Yes.
So people were beating the drum again, right? That's why we shouldn't have fourth seeds in the playoffs. This is why we shouldn't have fourth seeds. What do you think?
I don't buy it. There was they put out a good stat line on it. There was tons of fourth seeds that took the number one seeds to the brink. There was a couple four seeds that beat some number one seeds. I think right off the top, I want to say Denton Ryan may have finished second in their group, their district, and got knocked out round one. When's the last time we seen Denton Ryan get knocked out round one? Let's be honest. Long time.
Allen,
right? So I don't buy that. The whole four seats shouldn't get in. And think about it this way too: is we've now broken it up into two different divisions, right? So you would have a really quick playoff run if you only did the first two teams in each district, right? It's no longer the for the 5As and whatnot. So I like four teams. It gives us a couple, like 6 more weeks of football. I mean, it is what it is. And, four seeds, Port Lavaca Calhoun, what were they? 3-7?
Yeah.
4-7. They slid into the third spot, I think.
Yeah, based on some losses that happened the last week and stuff like that. So
Very
they ended up
easily.
bumping up to the third.
And then just a team that could have easily been the district champ, barring a interception by Cal in the end zone. So I like it, man. I think it's a good way for schools to make money. I think it's a good way for fans and kids to continue to play football. And I mean, who's complaining about playing more football? I don't get that argument.
Yeah, and we I was at a game on Friday night where it was a 4 seed versus the 1 seed. London got in as a 4 seed in their district, and they ended up beating San Diego 28-6, right? And
Michael, game. Yeah, and Michael, the top seed's getting buys. I'm not sure that would really work though, considering the way it's lined up.
It would throw everything out. It would throw everything off a little bit.
You have 5 teams, I think, making it.
Yeah, it would be weird. It'd be a weird bracket setup.
I like the way it is right now. It doesn't bother me at all. Cuero got pushed by a number 4 Salado team who's in a tough district. They almost lost that game. They won in overtime, and I think should be a favor to win Region 4. Or no, I'm sorry, Region 3 in their division. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yep. So I mean, I'm good with it. I mean, it's more football, just like you said, right? It's more football. And I think a superintendent that got her tweets circulating. It's more kids playing football, more band performances. I mean, it's kind of all around. Your cheerleaders get to go out for another game, more fans traveling here, more fans traveling there. I mean, it's good, right? It's good.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily buy the argument it's a participation trophy. It's not a participation trophy. I mean, some of those districts are very hard. They're very hard.
They're tough.
And some of those 4 seeds could probably be a 1 or 2 seed in the district here, right?
Yeah,
so
good.
I mean, you got to look at it that way. Man, what else? School records. If you guys watched what's been popping up in the Twitterverse or on the social media verse lately, a lot of school records getting broken this season, man. So first we had Elijah Huff, right? Broke that rushing record there at West Oso. And then London's had 3 records broken this year, school records, right? Not state records. So I didn't know this. The twins, the Cazales twins, Preston and Pearson. I had no idea they were twins. I think they're like 6'2" receivers at London. Pearson had the single season touchdown reception record set this year, and Preston had career receiving yards set this season. And Ace, career touchdown passes. I think he set that the last week of the regular season. And then Taft, I mean, what do you expect from Taft, right? With the numbers they were putting up, something had to get broken, right? Costa, 3,474 single season passing yard record, 32 touchdown passes in a season. That's another record. Josh Juarez, 1,464 receiving yards in a season. That's a record. 19 receiving touchdowns. That's a single season record, and 82 catches in a season. So
we had an eruption of stats this year. It was crazy. Yeah. It was good to see, right? Offense is putting up numbers, a lot of producers. And Taft, they've been one of my favorites. Jerry knows that. So that was cool to see.
He's got you a hat.
I saw that, man. I was in comment. Mail it to me or something, or maybe I can catch up if Taft gets past Rodgers. I get out there to get that game and grab it off you.
Yeah. So a couple not weird things, but unfortunate things happened this last week as well. So I don't know if you kept up with the news out of New Braunfels. Their starting quarterback got electrocuted last week, fell 20 feet from a power pole. I don't know how that happens. He's alive. He survived, but that's definitely up there with kind of freak accidents. And then last week, since we didn't have a show, Victoria West, one of their offensive linemen, passed away in a single car rollover last Monday morning, I think. And it was early, like 3 a.m. or something. So, our condolences out to the Victoria West family and Diego Martinez's family. You never want to experience that as a parent. So.
No, that's rough, man. We talked about it with the New Braunfels kid. It's like, I think it's pretty clear I got 2 little boys, and I used to not really, when I was younger, I didn't really, was pretty carefree and thought my parents were being pretty lame. But, the older I've gotten now and watching these 2 grow up and you see accents like that, it's kind of like, man, I don't know how much I trust you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Rambunctious. My older one, seems like he's got a little more head on the shoulder sometimes. So it's like, I don't know if I have to really worry about him climbing a telephone pole and electrocuting himself, but the younger one,
Yeah. So we'll jump in our surprises again. We'll kind of skim through this real quick. One major surprise, and you kind of hit it on already. Alice Port Lavaca Calhoun. Sergio, are you here or are you recording? Sergio, where are you? Sergio, if you guys, he went off on the goings on of Alice last week, and it was definitely a surprise, right? The weather was obviously not optimal for a throwing offense. I don't know how bad the wind was blowing out in Alice, but the wind and the rain.
It was in GP, dude.
The wind and the rain was pretty hard in Odom, and Alice was, I mean, not Alice, but London, who also runs a spread offense, was throwing the ball. They were completing passes. I don't know. I get it that the wind and the environments will have an effect on your offensive game plan if you're a spread team, but at the same time, your defense has to play, right? Because depending on how that other offense is, if it's a run-based offense, if it's another pass-based offense, your defense still has to play, right? And if something's not working, I mean, you make adjustments, right? I mean, I know that sounds simple coming out of my mouth, but
I was supposed to go to that game, but it was my oldest birthday weekend, so we stayed here at the house, and the game was here in Portland, and if you've been to our field lately, a lot of the windbreak has been down. It's been knocked down, so it's wide open, dude, both ends. Yeah. So it funnels through there. It gets real windy, and like I said, I was on the back patio watching the game on the TV, and I had rain kind of being blown in sideways on us while we were watching. I mean, it was coming down pretty good, and the wind was up. pushing pretty hard. So he definitely was going to throw off the throwing game from Alice, but at the same time, you kind of had an idea this was the conditions that were going to be laid out for you in that game. So, I'd have liked to see if I was Alice, hey, the pass ain't working. Let's kind of get the run involved a little more, right? And if you watch that game, there was opportunities there for Alice. It's just couldn't stop PLC's run game at all, which I still kind of shocked me because this Alice team, like I was talking about, I saw him coming out against Vets. I thought, man, Vets is in trouble. Got waxed by Vets. Then they come out against Cal Allen, gave Cal Allen one of the best games Cal Allen's seen all year. So they're sitting there thinking, man, Alice has a good chance to go 4 rounds and meet back up, and that could be a whole different game. And then they come out against Port Lavaca, and I was, joking around, messaging Sergio because everyone knows he's an Alice homer, and I was like, man, just kind of BSing about the game, and I was like, no, but all seriousness, I legit think y'all got Port Lavaca by a couple scores, like I really do. And then I started watching Cuero and Salado, and I was trying to refresh that game, and finally I swapped over to check out some Alice and PLC, and I was going back and forth, and it was just I was just shocked. I was just surprised and shocked at the round 1 exit, the way that happened. And I felt for Sergio because I know how much he pours into the Coyote program, but I mean, he's got venture over there and watch his deal. I watched it today. It was interesting, and he goes off. If you want a good laugh, it's definitely worth it.
Oh man! So let's jump into next week or this week, right?
This week.
Oh man, we've got some big games. We'll start at the top and work our way down. Obviously, the one if you're on Twitter and you follow Matt Stepp, if you guys aren't familiar who Matt Stepp is, he's the guy for Dave Campbell's Texas Football, right? He's all over the place. He checks in here. He's a big foodie. Everybody in the state knows him, right? If you follow high school football, like really follow it, Matt Stepp, right? And he summed it up, man. We're going to be the center of the Texas high school football universe this weekend come playoff time, right? We've got a lot of big games here. First off, Miller versus PSJA North at Tavannes, right? So depending where you look, the Coastal Bend is the underdog in all of these games. Miller, PSJA North, Miller's the underdog. Vets, Vela, Vets is the underdog. But there's some spots like where we are the favorite in one of these games. Man, I just saw it a little while ago and I lost it.
Is it the Godfather?
No, it wasn't Padilla. I hadn't looked at Padilla's stuff. It's actually it's a pretty neat thing. I hadn't seen it before until today. Where is it? Man, dead air.
I got Miller. Like we talked about it. We've already kind of talked about this at work, kind of leading up to it. And, I have a lot of respect for Matt Stepp and what they, do at Dave Campbell's. And I think that it's justifiable picking PSJA North. But I think I just think Miller's got him, dude. I think they're going to have more speed than what PSJA North has. I watched a little bit of PSJA North last year against Westlake, which isn't very fair, but still they struggled with the pass. And there was receivers on that Westlake team, outside of Jaden Greathouse that are the equivalency of Lonnie. You know what I mean? And they got by those guys and they were able to produce. So I see Miller producing in the air against them. And I think, if they try to cover the air against Miller, I think, you're leaving yourself vulnerable to 3 pretty explosive running backs at Miller. And, both quarterbacks Miller runs out there mobile. So, to me, what I would be more focused on is how is Miller's defense going to hold up to PSJA's offense, which I think running the ball, PSJA can probably produce. Not sure about throwing the ball because a lot of that secondary for Miller is their receiving core and they got speed and you can't just loft one up on Lonnie. He's going to make you pay for it. So I'm leaning pretty heavy Miller here. I like the little Cinderella story people have pegged out for the Valley to win the region, but I ain't buying it.
I bounced some numbers together, right? So I looked at the records of each opponents, right? I looked at Miller's opponents and PSJA North's opponents, and they're almost pretty even, right? Both have more losses than wins. So North's opponents are combined 47 and 53, and Miller's are 43 and 57. North's average margin of victory is about 37.1 points, and Miller's 32 points. That's including shutouts and whatnot. And then it's they're pretty even on paper, right? But I think what Michael's saying here is that I don't know if I am. I'm going to say I'm ignorant on the Valley on what these teams bring. I have not seen either of these teams play. I have not. I've seen Miller. I have not seen North, or I have not seen Vela. Does North have the defensive secondary to cover these options? Okay, so they have Lonnie, right? And we've seen what happens when they shut Lonnie down. Luke Johnson did it. Held him to 90 yards, right? But who stepped up that game? Jaden Moreno stepped up that game.
Lister and Jaden Moreno
stepped in, right? So you have all these other guys. Does North have the dogs in the secondary to cover all these guys, right? And then, okay, well, if you drop all these guys in the coverage, who's going to cover? How do you stop the run?
How you can stop Corey Holmes
and Ethan Greenwood, right? How do you do that? Or how JB or Trevor if they tuck it and run?
Yep.
Right. So like I said, I'll say it. I'll be the first to say it. I'm ignorant on what these teams bring. I can only speak from one side of this.
Don't let them tempt you, Justin. Don't let them tempt you. I don't want, we know Justin for a while now. Don't let them tempt you. If they give you the run, just smash it on their throats. Take it. Take everything.
Yeah. And so I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. Right. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a very good game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout.
I think Miller gets by a couple scores.
I think Miller will win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And if you think I'm wearing my rose-colored glasses with looking at CCISD and thinking the Coastal Bend is, dude, up until probably 2 weeks ago, I thought the Valley was going to take this game. I did.
Yeah, you did.
But I saw what. And okay, everybody's going to. It's the south side of San Antonio. Of course, they're going to put 70 points up. They could have scored 100. They stopped scoring with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Okay, yep. They stopped and it was 77 points, I think is what they ended up putting, or was it 70?
Yeah, I think 70, but it was up there.
Yeah, they stopped. We had some guys, Groceries was upset that the second team gave up all those points in the fourth quarter. He said they need more pride out there. Those second teamers need more pride.
I love it. Less. I agree with Michael. I was leaning more 42-21. Maybe 24. Maybe.
But here's the other one, right? It's supposed to be ugly on Friday night. It's supposed to be ugly.
Well, that plays into the run team's hands, which would be, I think, North.
Yeah, it does. And we saw it.
Not saying Miller can't run.
Right, that is true, but we saw it last year. It's more of a dogfight. We saw it last year against Pace, where they just squeaked by. Or was it last year or the year before?
It was the year before, I believe.
And they just squeaked by. So that's gonna be interesting if that weather rolls in and all that rain comes in. It's definitely gonna change the game plan.
I think either team takes a win regardless of the score, right? If you're playing the game, you don't really care. As a fan perspective, that's where the numbers get construed. And then of course we like to spit facts we like to spit stuff we think are facts, and we might be budgeting it high 42-21 for a bad weather game, but who knows? It can get ugly quick.
Yeah. So we'll jump into our next one. We kind of hit on it already. Edinburgh Vela and Corpus Christi Veterans. So again, I ran some numbers, and again, their opponents' records very close, right? Vela, both teams we didn't mention earlier, in case you guys didn't know, both teams dropping down from 6A. Vela and North, and Miller opting up. Miller should be 5A D2, right? They opt up to 5A D1. Vela's average, their opponents' records 55 and 45. Vets 54 and 46. Pretty close, right? Yep. Average margin of victory for Vela 49 points. Vets 25. North's opponents, former 6A opponents, Edinburgh North, who finished 8-2. Edinburgh High, who finished 6-4, both in the playoffs. And then Weslaco East, who is 5A D1 and they're also in the playoffs. I think they lost last week, and they both beat those guys. They beat Wesco East 54-7, and 55-13 and 50-14. So they did what they're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
And then Vets, what, 8-2 regular season? Lost to New Braunfels Canyon, who finished 9-1, 43-42, and what was it? I don't want to say it was 5 overtimes, but it was an overtime game. Had overcame 5 turnovers in that game and still kept it close. Still lost, depending how you want to look at that. Lost to El Campo in overtime. Reuben Owens lost El Campo 24-14, and that was the last L they took during the regular season. Everything else they kind of cruised through. Snuck by a couple that we thought, are they going to win this one? With that close one to Carroll, and then another close one to Victoria East to finish out the regular season.
They matched their opponents, except barring last week. Right, last week they
put up 70,
another level. So. Is that like did they come out right there? Is that like hey, we're here finally? We're going to be a lot more consistent and put up points like we know we can? Or are we going to get the Vets that plays down to their opponent or plays up to their opponent? You know what I mean? So they are kind of a hard one to gauge. I'm going pedigree here with Vets. They've been a winning program the last couple of years down here. And I think the last time they lost to Valley School was against Mission Veterans. Maybe
in the years ago. Finals?
4 years ago,
finals, right? Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. So, same thing with Miller versus North. I think we're going to see here with Vets versus Vela. I think Vets has enough team speed, and I think they have enough. They have really good coaching defensively, Coach Wilson. So I think they'll find a good game plan, and I think they'll just be a better football team than Vela that night.
I don't know this one. Man, I think I'm gonna go with the Valley on this one, dude.
Trickier.
Just because I'm a man. I don't. Is it gonna be the Vets team that scored 70, or is it going to be the team that squeaked by Carroll?
Yeah, I'm taking the local team, but I mean, you and Michael aren't wrong. I think it's this one's more of a toss up because you're right. Like Vets has played to their opponent, and Vela has some good athletes, but the matchups that you get with Miller versus North, the big difference there being speed, right? I don't think you have so much of a speed difference here in Vela and Miller, or I'm sorry, Vela and Vets, but I do think that Vets has more finesse in the overall of that team, and I think they've had some close games and some adversity. I think they'll find a way to win. But you're not wrong in the fact that you're picking Vela. That's fair. It's not like that's not a crazy thought.
But here's the question I'm going to throw to you now, and if there's any Valley guys in here watching, I mean, chime in. So these guys are the favorites, right? They're the favorites from DCTF. They're favorites from the computers. What happens if they both lose? What happens? Is it meltdown in the Valley? Is it what is it? Is it because if you follow anybody, we had Kevin on a few weeks ago and he was already predicting both these teams in the region finals. So there's a lot of hype behind these guys from the Valley, and I love it, right? The Valley really gets behind their teams regardless where they're from, right? You're gonna have guys from Harlingen cheering for these Edinburghs and this PSGA teams because Puro 956, right? I mean, really, that's what it is. These guys, and I love it, dude. I love the way the Valley leeches onto these teams or grabs a hold of these teams, and they're ours. If they're past the palm trees in Raymondville, they're us. We're all this team, right?
Which is cool.
So, what happened? Jerry thinks it'll be a meltdown. Because there's so much hype behind these teams. When the realignments came out, we said it, right? We said it when the realignments came out and they dropped. It was like, oh, these guys could be in the region finals, right?
It's fair, right? Because they're coming down from 6A. They both made good runs in 6A. They've both been successful in 6A, right? But I think if they do get knocked out by these two teams, I think if I'm a Valley guy, I'd be pissed, right? Like that's your, like, what I would consider your one hope to get to a region finals, right? Is some powerhouses from 6A dropping down. Like if you were to tell me, hey, Harlingen is dropping down to 5A D1 next year,
You know what I think already?
I would just be like, dang,
State
like
champs.
Harlingen's got a
State
good
champs.
chance. Harlingen's got a good chance to win that region and push that 5th round game. So I think if you're sitting there and both these two teams, they drop down, they've had success. I think it's fair to get excited about them. But if they do drop out, if it does happen to you, that could be just an ugly slap in the face. Honestly, that's a hard. That's talk about getting hit with some reality harshly, right?
Yeah.
We kind of experienced that last year when you saw the Bluff go up there. Katie Paytown made them look silly. That's a harsh slap of reality, right? PSJA North last year in 6A, big bad PSJA, met up with Austin Westlake, harsh slap of reality.
Wagner a few years ago to Flower. Oh no, at least Flower Bluff played Wagner pretty close that game, but
Wagner
they came out
that
next week and got Vets. Yeah.
So that's the ticket, right? So if the Valley comes up here and flubs this, that could be kind of. But see, the only thing with the Flower Bluff one was Wagner dropped down to the Bluff, so that was almost like you're facing Goliath at that point. Like these dudes are Goliath, and if David takes them out, which is what we're talking about, that's harsh. That's
but
harsh.
hey, do not forget about Brownsville Vets, who plays Victoria West, who's still in it, who could sneakily get in there, right? Yeah. They run the triple option. They've got a very good runner who's run for a ton of yards. So that's one to be watching too, kind of wading in the weeds right now, just to kind of see what's going to happen with these two games, right?
Sure.
So yeah, don't just because these two teams in the Valley could potentially get knocked out this week, they're still
knock our guys out. They knock our guys out, and you're talking a big party in the Valley.
Oh, big time, dude, big time. Yeah,
they already put it as a Mecca.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll ever be welcome there after this week's picks, but whatever. Okay, so 5A D2. Let's talk about your guys here for a second. Gregory Portland versus Alamo Heights in Cuero. Let me go first because you're going to get long-winded. I think GP wins this game, and I think GP wins it easy. I think GP wins it easy because Alamo Heights, they've done what they're supposed to do, okay? That's all I could say. They lost to Seguin after Oreo Gate, right? They had 21 players suspended after all that thing happened with the hazing and whatnot. 21 kids out. They lost to Seguin 42-39. Barely lost to Seguin.
Yeah.
But after that, they went on a roll, right? 56-23, 49-23, 56-7, 62-0, 56-6, 48-0, 69-7, 63-7, 57-6. That's the scores of their last 9 games. Their opponent's record, 47-52.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of 0-8. You got some offers in there. It's SAISD, and I'm not trying to knock SAISD, but it's an inner city San Antonio school. Alamo Heights actually tried to get out of this district. If you remember, after realignment came, they petitioned the UIL to get out of the district, and their petition got denied. So yes, Michael, their record is misleading, but again, they've done what they're supposed to do. They beat these teams, and they beat them bad, right? Yeah, which is what you would have expected this Alamo Heights team to do. So they're not. I don't think they're overrated. But I can guarantee you these starters haven't played more than a half.
I don't really know. I don't really know about that. But what I do know is I think that they match up really good on paper with Portland and vice versa. I know Rhett Anderson's a hoss, so that's a dude that they're going to have to watch out for if we're going to slow that offense up that they got going. But yeah, I like it because we're the underdog. It's clear, right? I think a lot of people have already written us off as the underdog. The Alamo Heights is the favorite, and that's cool with me. I don't know so much that we're going to blow them out, but I think we faced a lot more adversity than they have this year. And even though in those adversity games, like we're 0-3, but and those are our 3 tough losses. But I watched these kids from week 1 all the way up till now. There's a lot of confidence with them. They're playing really good, and we're kind of due one. We're due a game in one of these big moments like this. And, we took a tough loss to the Flower Bluff team. And, I was a little worried how they would come out, last week against that Mission team. Was it be like if you overlook them, come out and make a lot of mistakes, look super sloppy. And it was, they got on them quick. They didn't miss a beat. So I think Bluff's a really good team. So I think I look to see them making a big run on their side, which, we played them very closely. They played Bernie very closely. If you go back in our Bernie game, we stayed on the field way too long on defense. We were still young, couldn't get off the field. The secondary kind of made some mistakes, and we let their quarterback move the ball with his feet on third. We have a 3rd and 12, and we'd let them get away with one. So you take that stuff back, which I think they fixed a lot of that now. And that Bernie game could be a lot different for us. If people forget, we jumped out to a 7-0 lead quick. So I think this matches up well with us. I don't really see us having a lot of pressure going into it. You know what I mean? Because you're not the one that's supposed to be picked to win. And if Alamo Heights overlooks us, dude, they can fall behind pretty quick. We got some really good receiving talent out there. Coco, Ross. Now you got a kid named Carmelo Catalan's come along. Reed Dooms is growing up tremendously. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the area. So he's had a very few mistakes for a sophomore. So, and the mistakes he has had, they've been big time learning experiences. So I like the matchup for us. I like Alamo Heights, actually. Believe it or not, even though Alamo Heights knocked me out when I played football, I like Alamo Heights. I like I like the program they got, and I like the rivalry we got with them. It's not a huge one, but when I was a little kid, I remember watching GP and Alamo Heights battling out in like the 03, 04 era, 05. Those were great games for me. Good memories. So looking forward to this one. Hoping GP stomps that ass. And then it's football, right? So it's an oblong ball, and it can bounce either way. So we'll see what happens. But
again,
go Cats.
Weathers could play a difference again, right?
We're in Cuero. I love Cuero. So there's just a lot of things for me in this game that they're shaping up nicely. So any of the GP kids or coaches out there who whoop their ass, please.
Yeah, hey Jacob, you're right. Michael Terry is a very good athlete. I know Robbie's covered him a couple games and put some highlights of him out. He's a very good player. He's definitely somebody they've got to watch out for.
They got tons of Alamo Heights team.
Yeah, they do, just like Portland does, right? Just like GP does. I think a lot of folks are just assuming that Alamo Heights is going to walk away with it. They are the favorite, just like you said. I think GP can pull this one out. I think so. They're going to need a big game from Bats. This week. They're definitely going to need a big game from Bats.
Once you start seeing teams like this, you got to play pretty sound football. You know what I mean? Mistakes kill you. So play sound football, and the rest is up to whatever you can do.
Yep. Hey, there you go, Latacha. We'll do. Go beat GP or go GP. We'll do that. All right. The other 5A D2 game, Flower Bluff versus Lockhart, and this is going to be at the Rock Pile. Nice environment for some football, especially on a Friday night, right? The Rock Pile.
I thought it was in the Dome.
No, it's at the Rock Pile. I think Somerset is playing in the Dome Friday night.
Oh wow! Oh
yeah,
man, I love Rock Pile.
I did not get a chance to look a lot into Lockhart and as far as what they bring, but this is probably one of their best seasons they've had in a while.
I was about to say it's one of the I saw earlier in this week they were talking about this is one of the best teams best records Lockhart has had in a long time. What did it date back into the 90s?
I'm gonna try to pull it up. I think so. I got to see if I can find it. I retweeted it yesterday because it kind of caught me off guard. There was a guy. Oh, there's that game capsule that I was looking for earlier. I don't want to lie to you and say the wrong name.
For sure,
Mike Barnes. He's up from the Austin area and kind of gave a quick little rundown of some of these playoff projections here. And it was, let me find it here. There's Port Isabel, Llano Goliad, Lago Vista Sitten, Orange Grove, Lockhart, Flower Bluff. Lockhart's 8-3. The last time they won 9 games was 1971. They've set a school record for points in the season at 474 points this year. Dang. So not a slouch, right?
No.
Not too shabby on offense.
They're up there with Liberty Hill, but if you look at that Liberty Hill district, I want to say that Liberty Hill district's kind of in shambles right now outside of Liberty Hill. They've been they've had some weak games or weak teams in that district. So there's a couple things I know about Lockhart, right? They have good barbecue, and the only time I've ever seen them play football was wax them in front of Drew Brees when I played football. So I'm going with the Hornets to stomp them. I think Flower Bluff's rolling right now. I don't see Lockhart hanging in there.
So
And
they've lost to
been Homer at this point.
San Antonio Davenport, 62-46. San Antonio Veterans Memorial, 49-42. And played Liberty Hill actually very close, 35-14. They lost to Liberty Hill. So not a bad team on paper, right? Not a bad team.
On paper, they look good.
Yeah. So we'll see, right? Joe, who are you talking about the 2,000-yard rusher? Is that the kid from Brownsville Vets? Is that who you're talking about? We'll wait for an answer. And how do we feel about Heavenville? We'll get there, Jose. We will get there. Man, just out of ignorance, man, on this one. We tried to get some guys from the Central Texas area to come on the show this week to kind of help us out with this because we did not want to kind of talk out of our butts on this and
we didn't have time to prepare. That's our fault, but work kind of putting it to us right now.
Yeah, we had a VIP in today, so it was something else. Anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna go with Lockhart. I'm gonna go with Flower Bluff on this one. I'm just gonna be the homer on this one. I'm gonna put my Maroon hat on.
Right, Coastal versus everybody,
and that's gonna be it, right? Yeah, Coastal Bend versus everybody. 4A D1. We just mentioned this team: Calallen versus San Antonio Davenport. This is the one that everybody. This is another game that everybody's talking about, and this is also it's in Victoria. I put Cuero for some reason. It's in Victoria. Friday night. I looked at what Davenport's doing, right? Because I mean, that's all you heard about. Davenport. Davenport is a new school in Comal County ISD. And they were able to get players from the area with this new school built up, Steel, Shirts,
New Braunfels,
both Canyon and New Braunfels High. But if you're on that Texas high school football scoreboard page, there was a post on there and it said, is this Callan's final? Is this the year they get it? And no, they got Davenport this week. Davenport, they played a non-varsity schedule last year, and they actually played Shiner closest to anybody did last year. I think they were within 2 scores of Shiner last year. And I actually heard about that. I remember when I met their principal at the region finals, and he's the one that told me that about this Davenport school. I had never heard about them. So they'd been around. They've been playing football for a couple of years already. They've got 3 main dudes right on offense. Their quarterback, Tristan Hamlin, running back, Shaston Golden, who's a 2,000-yard rusher, and a couple wide receivers, Kyle Payne, David Miller, and Emmett Greenman, 700 yards receiving, 687 yards receiving, and 476 yards receiving. Hamlin's thrown for 2,300 yards and run for 144, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Their defense has gotten 22 sacks, 82 quarterback hurries, 7 interceptions, and 13 forced fumbles. Pretty good on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
This is the piece that worries me, and it's not the offensive playmakers. It's the 2 linebackers that have over 100 tackles each. Judge Erickson, 106 tackles, 6 for loss, 2 sacks. Zahir Livingston, 102 tackles, 11 for loss, and 5 sacks. If you remember a couple years ago, very outmatched Austin McAllen team came out and took that win from Callan based, it seemed like, off 1 linebacker. Remember that kid?
2017. It was the year after state.
Just making me. I mean, I was like, okay, they got 2 of these dudes, right? McCallum had 1, right, and essentially shut that offense down, right? I know that was more, but it seemed that kid was a standout that game.
Here, to me, here's the difference, right, dude? And I've only watched Callan like twice this year, I think, live. But man, they lean heavy shotgun, and they run out of it. But they lean heavy shotgun. They're not the old school just slot T, wing T team that people remember them as. They've went pretty heavy power run out of the shotgun, and they fell out of it. And Bryce is a lot more athletic than the kid that was quarterback, and I think that was, it wasn't Lamb. It was the year after Lamb. Anyways, he was a good quarterback, but he wasn't Lamb, and he's not Bryce Burnett. And I think Callan kind of got stuck in their way of trying to run up the middle on that McCollum team. That kid was all over the field. So I don't know. They're going to have these. I think the way Callan plays, they're going to have those 2 linebackers in space, and It's going to see what they can do out in the open. You're not going to get the freebie of getting players funneled to you up the middle based off what the defensive line and offensive line is doing. So they are going to have to make plays, and you'll see find out a lot more on how good they are. Who knows? They could bring it to them, but at the same time, can they cover? And on top of that, can you put up points against that Carolina defense? That Carolina defense is playing good this year.
Yeah, 30 sacks, 52 hurries, 20 interceptions, 14 forced fumbles is what Cal Allen's done in the regular season.
Their defense is playing really good right now.
Yep.
And they've showed they can cover the pass team. Because I find it hard to believe that there's a lot more teams out there right now in this area that can, on a good night, outpass, what Alice did. And, of course, Alice moved the ball on them, but it wasn't, they struggled at times, too, to move that ball on them. So, I think that, to me, was always a chink in that armor of Callan's defense was the pass coverage. And I feel like they've gotten a much better pass coverage defense this year.
So to piggyback on what Michael is saying, Davenport hasn't seen anything close to Cal Allen's defense. Cal Allen by 35 plus. Wow. Okay. That is kind of what took me off the edge is looking at their schedule. I know it's a schedule, right? It's high school football. It's kids. You can't really compare it to an NFL schedule or kind of relate the two, right? In the same sense and have the same meaning. They beat Victoria West 33-26. They beat a bad Tivy team 31-28, a brand new Piper team 37-23. They lost to Canyon Lake 38-35. They beat Lampasas team that's not the same Lampasas as the Ace Whitehead era 55-34. Beat Taylor 32-29, Burnett 42-28, and a 2-8 Marble Falls 49-7. Lost to Lockhart, as we said. They beat Lockhart 7-3, or actually 62-42, and beat Divine 63-48. Opponent's record 55-45, winning record versus Cal Allen's, whose record obviously wasn't that great. But Cal Allen at the same time, they did what they're supposed to do, right? They played a lot of bad teams too, right? They played a lot of bad teams too. However, they beat GP 22-12 minus a quarterback, right? Minus a quarterback. They beat a school from Mexico 41-6. They beat Flower Bluff, a bigger school, 40-7. They beat Cuero. However you want to shake it out. Should have Cuero won that game? Yeah, Cuero should have won that game. But it's football. Fumbles happen, turnovers happen. They happen at inopportune times, right? They beat Cuero 24-8. And then this is where everything starts running away. Zapata 54-0, Kingsville 64-3, La Feria 71-20, Alice 37-30, Tolosa Midway 66-0, and Hidalgo 56-0. And then they beat Bevo last week 28-6.
36.
Was it 30-6?
Yeah.
I think I'm with Michael on this one, man. I think Cal Allen. I'm not worried about Cal Allen in this game. I think Cal Allen takes this one. Their offense, they match up pretty well. I'm almost pretty good. I think the rain, if we're gonna throw the rain and the weather as a factor in this one, I think it affects Davenport more than it does Cal Allen.
Yeah.
They've got one main runner, the Golden kid, Shaston Golden. Cal Allen's been spreading the ball around since they've lost Epi, right? Blaine Lamb went down last week with an injury. He should be back this week. That was their one of the main concerns. They're splitting carries between him and Luke Medina. And just like you said, man, they're lining up in shotgun and they're throwing the ball around, man. So Skylar Rubio and Sonny Caponello, I mean, they're having a pretty good season, right? Not nearly what these guys are putting up over in Davenport. But this isn't the Cal Allen secondary of before, right? That was their biggest weakness that we talked about, right? They can't cover. They can't cover. They're playing a lot better in the secondary this year. I think Cal Allen takes this one. I don't know if it's by 35, but I think Cal Allen's got it.
I think so too. Leaning with the Cats.
Yeah, there you go. When was the last time you thought you'd say that?
I don't hate Cal Allen. I got friends in Cal Allen. It's just
man.
When we play Cal Allen, I can't jive with them.
Yeah. So let's jump down to 4AD2, Sitton versus Lago Vista. 8-3 Lago Vista team had solid losses. They had some very good losses this season.
They have a pretty good squad.
They do.
They've got a very explosive offense.
And I think so. There's another guy out here. Actually, let's talk about this guy here. I think this guy had a little knock right in here. So Lago Vista versus Sitten. Lago Vista is just 27 points away from its second highest scoring season ever. That's really it. Okay. And where is that breakdown? There's a breakdown here that's got, let me go. It's from Texas High School Football, Tony Blaylock.
Well, I mean, look at their schedule. They have 3 losses. They lost 71-35 to Cameron Yo. Cameron Yo's having a tremendous season. I think they won district.
Yes.
They lost 42-21.
Oh, actually, they did. They finished second to Franklin, who was the state champion last year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, they're in they're in a good district. They're in the second round of the playoffs already. They're having a good year. Geronimo Navarro. They're pretty much a well-known name. They lost that game 42-21. Geronimo Navarro is having another pretty good season. And then they lost to Wimberley 31-28.
Who just won 81-0 last week.
Yeah, so they played Wimberley, a very good Wimberley team, and took them to the brink. So, Lago Vista is not someone to sleep on if you're sitting.
Nope.
They very easily could win this game. And quite frankly, I'd probably lean with Lago Vista being the favorite in this game.
I would too, but Sitten is doing just enough on offense. Right, just enough on offense. They scored a couple of defensive touchdowns last week against Grula, but man, I don't know, because Sitten's defense is the heart of that team right now, and they're playing very well. Here we go. Here, Homer. I'm going to put my Homer hat on again. I'm going to side with them. I did that with them against Ingleside, and they didn't prove me wrong. I think I'm going to have to do it this week. Most are started playing both ways. Look very similar to Rockport to me. I think Sitten defense is the difference, and them being 100% healthy now, Sitten by 7. Michael, we're on the same page, man.
That's a fair call.
Yeah.
I'm torn, man. I don't know. I'm going to go with Coastal Bend, but I think it could go either way. But I'm going to roll with Coastal Bend. I'm going to go Sitten.
All right, Homer hat. All right.
I'm taking the Homer hat from pretty much from here.
Homer hat's coming off on this one. Orange Grove versus Wimberley. I think it's the end of the road for Orange Grove.
It probably is the end of the road for Orange Grove. You're talking about a better Wimberley team, but I'm gonna root for the Bulldogs. All right, there you go. I'm gonna root for the Bulldogs. Wimberley's got a good squad every year, man. It's something in the water up there.
Yeah, I don't know where they get it from, but yeah, they're always good, man. And then we've got Bishop versus Navarre. Now, Bishop beating West Oso last week was kind of a surprise. West Oso took the regular season matchup, I think, by 2 points. Did I say Bishop? West Oso took the matchup by like 2 points in the regular season, and Bishop gets revenge and in a big way. Seeing them do that after watching the way they played against Lyford seems like a night and day performance. They play Navarro.
They're done for.
I think this is the end of the road for Bishop as well. First time Bishop's made the playoffs, I think, since the late 2000s. I'm probably wrong, but it's been a while. So congratulations, Badgers. I mean, yeah, there you go, Michael. Yeah, probably in blowout wins. You're probably right. Next page, London versus Blanco. Jamie Dixon, right?
Dixon making an appearance again.
Yeah, so Blanco's been down and out, and if you guys follow Coach Dixon, was at Vanderbilt Industrial the last couple of years. He's a program builder, man. He's a program builder, and he's bringing Blanco back. They're playing in Comalander on Friday night as well. A lot of good games on Friday. I don't know enough about Blanco.
Lost to Llano, who's had a really good year. Actually, Llano's 6-0, 11-0. That was a district game for them. They lost to Marion, which I'm not. They got blown out by Marion. Lost to San Antonio Prep 24-16, and lost to Poth 21-14. So they've only in any loss they got blown out to Marion. And I'm gonna look at Marion real quick if we have time. Marion, what has Marion done? Heck, they're not even in the playoffs anymore, I guess. It's not showing me. Anyways, I'm going to have to do some more investigating on that Marion team. But anyways, I think Blanco is going to take this one. I think Jamie Dixon's got a good pedigree. I'm rolling with the Panthers. What do you think?
I'll go with you on this one. I think so. I mean, London looks very good, but I don't know if they'll have the dogs to keep up with those guys in Blanco. A lot of their kids go both ways, man. In London, not a very big squad. A lot of their kids go both ways. Both those twins go both ways. So yeah,
Man, that Marion team was 6-4, 3-3, and they blew out Blanco. That's crazy.
wow. Well, it could have been just getting their wheels under them.
It was later in the season, 3 games
Oh.
away. Either way,
Maybe not.
I'm rooting for Ace Navarro and company. I hope London can take this one over Jamie Dixon and Blanco, but I think Blanco will probably get him.
Yeah, London's 3AD1, Michael. 3AD1. 3AD2, Hebbronville versus Wallace Brazos. Hebbronville's playing strong right now, man. They've been bounced from the playoffs the first round the last couple of years. It's their first round win in a while. I think they keep the momentum going. Wallace Brazos was a fourth seed that ended up beating the 1 seed in that district. So you never know, right? You never know, but I think I'm going to go with Hebbronville in this one. They're going to stick with that run game. I think they're going to go with it. And that's actually in your backyard. That's in Gregory Portland. Friday
I
night.
know, dude.
Yeah.
Another hosting game.
So we'll be able to keep up with that one. I tell you who's the boss at hosting playoff games right now. That's Odom. We're the boss in we've hosted 3 games in 2 weeks.
I know. I feel that cheese.
Oh, I tell you what, I wish we weren't hosting and we were playing still, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go, like I said, I'm gonna go with Hebbronville in this one.
Soon to be 4A. Yeah, you're right, Mike. Yeah, you got all that cheese, all that Rico's cheese and Wolf Brand Sherry in your truck. If you need something for your party, find Jacob's Tacoma.
All right, man. So our last one, Taft versus Rogers. Wow, Rogers is the favorite in all of this one, right? If you
Greyhounds
go,
by 100.
they're what?
I said Greyhounds by 100.
Dude, I'm gonna do okay. So look, Jerry, look, Melissa, if you're watching, I'm picking the Greyhounds in this one, man. They're rolling, dude. I mean, they won big again last week. I don't know if they're gonna win big this week, but I'm gonna go with them this week. So Rogers is a pretty impressive run here, right?
Rogers is going to be tough. You're going to learn a lot about Taft. Realistically, I think Rogers might have the edge for sure. But I haven't picked against the Greyhounds all year, so I'm going to pick the Greyhounds to win this game.
Yeah, Cal Preps has Rogers by 7. The Massey Ratings has Rogers by 23. Tony Blaylock is picking Rogers, and Anthony is picking Taft. I'm with you, Anthony. Go Greyhounds.
Yeah, I'll take the Greyhounds for sure. I think they're in Lexington's group.
Yes. No, they are not. Yeah, they are. They played Lexington. They lost to Lexington. 20-0. Yeah, in the last game of the season. But that's a pretty tough little district there.
That is a tough district, dude. That's what worries me for the Greyhounds is Rogers is playing in a tougher district right there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's a tougher region for ball normally.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to be realistic here, Rogers should be the favorite in this game.
And they are. But
I'm gonna pick the Greyhounds because Poodle Greyhounds, right? We've been on the Greyhound train all year.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Hey, you handed the trophy to him, pal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Jerry, weather will help us. Well, Jerry, he likes to throw a lot, but he can make a lot of plays with his legs, and Sean is very good on the ground as well. So we'll see. John, if you got a little more on Rogers, you can throw it in. We'll repeat it. Comfort was in the tough distance district. Is that what you mean? Coastal Bend's always struggle versus Wake. Yeah, you're not lying, dude. You're not lying.
That's fair.
2AD1, Refugio at Hero Stadium. Refugio versus Holland.
I don't know anything on Holland, but I do know stuff on Refugio.
I do not either. I do not know anything on Holland. So let's see if I can find this capsule here real quick. The intern's he's pacing.
So the only thing that really needs to be said about Refugio is unless something drastically catastrophic happens to him, expect a rematch between them and Shiner.
Yeah, in Victoria probably. It'll probably be in Victoria again.
December 4th, 5th area.
Let's all figured it, right?
Prep ourselves for that game, and then we'll prep for Timpson after that because it should be Timpson coming out of Region 3. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think it could get hairy for Shiner or Refugio because that's a very good Timpson squad. So
very good Timpson squad. Let me see, man. Where are we still in?
So you don't have to go extremely a lot into Refugio. They should probably wax Holland. I don't even really see Holland making this a game. Because I want to say they played Holland before and it was a blowout. Not this year specifically, but just in years past. But Brad, Timpson State winners. That's not a stretch. That's a pretty they got a very good chance of doing that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to see Rafira and Shiner match up with them. But if you were to say it's somebody's year, I think I would have to say Timpson's going to have a good chance at it for sure.
Yeah, everybody's got Refugio by 4 touchdowns at least.
Yeah. What about Shiner? Who do they got this week?
Who? Shiner?
Yeah, who are they playing?
I think I just saw that. Oh, Mason.
See, that's not the Mason that we're used to.
It's not the same. It's not the same Mason team. It is not.
Punchers are down a little bit. The last couple of years, punchers have been down a little bit.
Yeah, Cal Prep says Shiner by 13. The Massey rating says Shiner by 26. Tony's picking Shiner. Anthony's picking Shiner. I don't see any reason to pick away from Shiner right now, honestly.
No.
And dude, I think that's it. Oh, Three Rivers and Flatonia. That's the last one that we have on here. And Holland has had a tough schedule, but Refugio wins by 21 plus. Yep. Yeah. I can agree with that. And Three Rivers, Flatonia. Three Rivers outside of Shiner and Refugio has been a pretty good ball club. A pretty good ball club. I don't see that changing between Flatonia. I think Flatonia also is having a record season right now as well. As some of these other teams have. Let me see if I can pull up that guy's profile again. Just so we don't get it. It was a nice little nugget that he had there, little tidbit that he had. And I don't want to get it wrong, but it was something that was points scored or something. There we go. Flatonia versus Three Rivers makes the second round for the 8th year in a row. They've won 3 of their last 7 road games, 52 points away from its highest scoring season ever. That doesn't tell me a whole lot about that team. Okay. But, hey.
I was just curious how it worked on YouTube. Sorry.
Oh man. Okay. I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap it up. It's 9:30. We only wanted to go 45 minutes and we went an hour. That's about par for the course, right? I do not know what game I will be at on Friday yet. It'll be a game day decision. I think it's a toss up between obviously the 2 big ones in Corpus, right? I'm thinking about maybe splitting at the half, depending on what goes. Try to get both of them.
I told myself I was going to go to Miller and North, man, but God, a big part of me wants to travel out to see Cal Allen and Davenport.
So that's the other reason, right? So I didn't finish that thought. Going back to that, everybody's like, they play Davenport. Okay, why? Tell me why Davenport is going to win. Why? Tell me why. Comment in the comments later. Hit us up on Twitter. Why? Tell me why. That's all I want to know. I'm not going to put an argument up. I want to know why. I have not seen these guys. Why? Just going off the numbers, I think they match up very well with Cal Allen. I don't think it's going to be a runaway. Yeah. Cal Allen has beaten teams they should not have beaten. Right? That's nothing new. I mean, not just this season. I mean, that's their thing. Right? They won a lot of games they shouldn't have won. Yeah. And this could be another one. Could be. I think it will be. But yeah, I think that's it, dude. I don't know where I'll be. I'll tweet out last minute where I'm going. I think we're all out of stickers. We're out of stickers. Well, whatever. Justin, where are you going to be? Are you staying home?
I don't know yet. I'm leaning towards Miller and PSJ North, at least the first half. And then depending on what that did, I was thinking about hopping over to Vela and Vets to finish that off. Depending, unless this game was close over here. Yeah. But then again, like it's hard because I'd love to see Davenport and Cal Allen play. But the smart decision is probably to stay in Corpus and just check out those games because those are kind of big games for us.
Yeah, yeah, and the other big game that we're hosting, like I said, Odom's hosting another game that's Port Isabel and Jarrell. Right now, Jarrell's the favorite in that game, but Ingleside was a favorite against Port Isabel last week, and it's something I didn't talk about. Right, that was a surprise that we did not see Ingleside losing to Port Isabel.
Did not see that coming,
and it was turnovers and penalties, I think, is what got Ingleside in trouble. And the weather didn't help. I think it was raining. They were playing at Cabinus. And hang on, our guy Ken Martin, resident, our plug in the Valley. Port Isabel made Ingleside pay for their mistakes. Multiple false starts, illegal motion, penalties, all on Ingleside. Port Isabel also forced several fumbles, recovering 3 of them. Tarpon's offense sustained long grinding drives, keep Ingleside offense off the field, and eventually wore him down. Pretty unbiased, right? Pretty unbiased. They scored 21 points in the first quarter, and that was it. The final was 28-13. I asked Ken, where those short fields, if they're running, he's like, yeah, the drive started about the 50 midfield somewhere for those 3 drives. So, well, it is what it is. I got to watch like the last 3 minutes of it. Some guy was streaming on his Facebook Live. But I think with that slot T that Port Isabel wins, it creates a lot of problems. Like I said, right now Gerald's the favorite by the computers and by Tony Blaylock and his buddy Anthony. But I think Port Isabel can pull it off this week. I will not be here in Odom because I will be at another game. But that'd definitely be a good one to watch. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. GP's game is streaming for free, by the way. Alamo Heights is streaming that game. Miller and Vets' games are being streamed. So you guys in the Valley will be able to watch that for free. It's on CCISD stream. The stream is okay. They have no play-by-play guys or color guys. They have the PA guy for the stadium. They have him hooked up.
Going to be up there streaming it and putting it on NFHS.
What's that?
I would think Rio Sports would probably be streaming it and putting it on NFHS.
I don't know. No, I know
they did last week's game.
Did they? The CCISD game? But they were. Oh, well, maybe they will.
They streamed the Allison Cal and Port Lavaca game.
Yeah, but that was a pay one, right? That was a NFHS one. This will be free. This one will be free.
I'd pay the $12 versus that quality.
So there it is. Guys, we will check in next week. I think we're on nights next week again. So possibly another daytime show next week. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the engagement. And we'll see you guys next week.